Alright, now we're actually recording.
Okay, hello. This is the Mostly White Noise Podcast, episode number 3. My name is Christopher Rivera, a.k.a. Chris from Honduras. Liam?
I am Liam Devine.
And I am Alex Whitehead.
And if you hear any beeping, it's because we're now on wheels.
We are on wheels. We decided to take the podcast on wheels, so we're going to go get some gasoline, and then we're going to go get some food, because that's what we do when you're in college, I guess.
Taco Bell, Chris.
Yeah, honestly.
Taco Bell. Specifically Taco Bell.
Lifeblood at this
I
point.
don't like Taco Bell.
You don't like Taco Bell?
I do not.
Why not? Tell me about it.
It leaves a bad aftertaste.
Then you just drink it down.
I don't. Only a Baja Blast is the only thing I
Baja
like.
Blast is so good.
Baja Blast I don't like. Here's my thing. I'm Hispanic, of course, and my thoughts on Taco Bell are the following. I think it's good trash food, but it's definitely not Mexican food.
I would agree. It's trash food.
It's trash food. It tastes good. It's cheap, but it's definitely... I can enjoy it because I don't think of it as like, oh, this is supposed to be Mexican food. Oh, it's so bad. No, it's just dumb trash food. You know
No, and I 100% agree. It's trash food.
Trash fruit?
It's fruit, yeah.
Close enough, yeah.
Yeah. No, but I do enjoy Taco Bell. I think it's just like... I actually had my first Taco Bell here in America when I first came to college about a year and a half ago.
So, Alex has not been officially introduced.
Right. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
so this is like technically my first one. Like we've obviously like been working on mostly white noise stuff. But as far as making it more official with the podcast, this is my first time here.
Yeah. Where are you from, Alex?
I always tell people that I'm from a place called Tampa, which is much less foreign than hearing Thanota Sassa.
To be fair, Sonora Sassa isn't really foreign.
It's foreign in the sense that I don't consider it part of America.
Or of the world.
Or the world. It's not on any map. It's not like anywhere. It's just a very, very small town where not a ton happens, honestly.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's such a bizarre setting to come from because when you leave there, anything in comparison seems big.
That's crazy because you were telling me, Alex, we were talking about how our school, it's kind of a small school, really.
Right.
And I was like, oh no, we were just talking about like state schools and things like that. And then you were like, no, for me, this campus is huge. It's just big.
Right. Like for me, at most what I had was a graduating class of 7 in high school.
That's
gosh.
insane.
And that was the second biggest graduating class that my school has ever had.
That is insane.
Well, and on a side note, you're also from Footloose.
I basically lived in Footloose because it was a
Dancing.
small, effectively Baptist community overall. And so, dancing was restricted. And I remember, I would talk to people, and Footloose always seemed like an absurd story until they heard where I came from.
Yeah, I'm absolutely baffled.
I literally told Alex this. I thought Footloose was the stupidest, dumbest concept ever.
Who would outlaw dancing?
Exactly. Who could possibly I'm in the shower, I'm dancing. What you gonna do? But then your community literally banned it. That's the most insane thing ever.
It's fascinating to me.
Right. It's a very bizarre concept. Even when I think back on it, it still sounds ridiculous because it's so absurd. But I know that it's something that actually came from.
Yeah.
And so I know that it's a real thing.
Yeah, Thanota Sassa is definitely, from what you told me, just a really the most extreme small town
It seems
syndrome.
very stereotypical.
It's such a that's the thing, is that it is a stereotype of what you think a small town would be like in a show.
I feel like have you seen Kingsman?
I have seen the first.
Have you seen the church scene? I feel like everybody in that church is the exact kind of people you would find in Thanota Sassa.
Yeah, I found that to be pretty familiar, honestly.
That is insane to me.
Because I'm used to being in a very southern area, and so I mean, I don't want to say, I definitely don't have an accent. I don't think I have much of a southern accent, if any.
You do not have at all.
And that was a very deliberate choice of mine because I just personally don't like the southern accent. I don't have anything against other people who have it, but for me personally, it was one of those things where it's like I just didn't want to sound like that because it felt like I wanted to be more so just a standard American accent, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I think my voice is pretty generic.
Alex,
don't say that.
Your voice is the Kirkland of voices.
I appreciate that, but
people love Kirkland. People love it.
You are the. So really, the way Mostly White Noise came to be was because I told you that I wanted to start a podcast, and the idea of starting a podcast, I've been trying to do that since I was a sophomore in high school. So 4 years ago, I've been thinking about doing this, and thank you, by the way, for pushing me to actually do
Absolutely,
this.
it's fun.
I think that what I want for Mostly White Noise, now that we're developing into videos and skits, I think it's one of those things where I don't want it to be like a defined thing of like, oh, we're only doing this thing, or only doing this kind of humor, or only doing this thing. You know, I just really want it to be a place where we can grow as filmmakers, really. But also content developer. I just want to create content. I just want to put out good content that people find enjoyable, and that we also have happiness and fulfillment making. Whether that's podcasts, whether that's videos, whether that's music, I don't know what it is.
Gameplay, who knows?
Gameplay, anything really. For me, I want to use Mostly White Noise as a creative platform, and a social platform, in the sense that I want to engage with other individuals and create different things. But I also just want to be able to create. That's my whole thing. I just want to create content that I think is good, and that people think is good.
In a sense, I want an excuse to create.
I guess that's a good way to put it. But for me, it's not an excuse. It's more like, I just want to use, I like the phrase a platform.
Yeah, I want it. Yeah, exactly. I would agree. I'm kind of making a generalization of like how the motivation is more here now that I'm like, oh, I kind of want something to work out, rather than just like, oh, hey, I'm posting this to my stupid YouTube channel that only my friends look at.
Yeah, and the other thing is, it's also like, I want it to be a clear, like, I think this is not really the point of Most of the White Noise for me, but it's a good, like, bonus, where it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I like to make movies or films. Oh, really? What have you done?
Yeah.
And it's like, I can just point to something that's very clear, and, like, there's a lot of good stuff in it, you know what I mean? Because, again, if I only make things by myself, or only create content by myself, the only pairs of eyes that are evaluating it and thinking that it's like, when you're editing or creating it,
is you.
It's myself, so I'm gonna think it's great. But I wanna, and also I just like, I was telling you about this a few days ago. I like working and talking and creating with people of different backgrounds and different cultures, and I think that that's really one of the things that I just love, like to create things with people with different perspectives and paradigms and outlooks in life. So for me, it's also a way to do that, because you guys are from a completely different place, a completely different culture and background than I am. And
despite me and Alex living really 3 hours apart, the way he's grown up is completely different.
No, and the thing is, Alex and I have a lot of similarities in the way we've grown up. But you guys and him have different similarities, and then I have similarities with you. But I think that there's always differences, and I think those differences are what makes everyone different, and everybody's creativity unique. And that's what I want to work with. That's what I want Most of White Noise to be. I want it to be a platform where we can create things, and it's not limited to a certain type of humor or a certain type of thing.
I think it's very interesting whenever we go to create something, how like despite the fact that we both like kind of have the same idea, we'll have two very different visions.
We do. Alex, hello, you're back from putting gas in your vehicle.
And then,
how was it, by the way?
It was good. Very. I would rate it at probably a solid 4 out of 10.
Out of Wawa's a solid experience.
Like overall, it was mainly because they kept playing the same song over and over again, and I don't really get why they play songs. At gas pumps.
I don't get it either.
Yeah, that's weird. Oh, by the way, did you see the thing? Just I want to like talk about this for a second. Did you see the thing? Was it Ohio that now people have to put their own gas in their own vehicles, and how they were completely baffled as to why and how it worked, and it was like the funniest thing for like a week.
No,
and
I haven't seen that.
That's so crazy because like in Florida you always have to put your own gas in.
Yeah, and that's the thing. In Honduras, there's people working at the gas stations that will put the gas in for you. So coming to America was always like, oh, you got to do it yourself. That's not true.
In New York, a gas attendant does it.
I did not know that. I thought that that was just the way that Americans did it. That it was like, oh, you're supposed to put in the gas for yourself. But I learned recently that no, there are places in America that it's the way we do it in Honduras, where it's like, you know, you get someone else to do it. You know what I mean? But yeah, no. Anyways, we were talking about how you and I have different visions in the same projects.
Well, why don't we just quickly discuss the one that we just did?
Okay.
We just made a video for like our school, our university does a dorm to dorm sort of competition, Olympic style thing, right? And I had a video competition. We recorded the same footage, and me and Chris decided to tackle the footage and separately edit it, and we had two completely different videos.
Yeah, because you were going a certain direction, and I was like, no. It wasn't even because of that. The way we decided to split it up was because of the music choice.
Yeah.
Because you were like, no, basically in the video we introduced different characters, and each represents a different genre of music, and you were like, oh no, when we introduce the characters, we gotta have music for each character. And I was like, no, I want to use the trailer music or whatever for the whole video. And then we kind of got an argument, and we were like, you know what? Why don't you do it your way, and I do it my way?
And I think we handled it well, because like at the end of the day, we clearly yours portrayed the idea better.
Yeah.
And that was just naivety on my part, because I thought the time frame was going to be. I think the video could only be 1:15.
Yeah.
For me,
I think the bigger difference here is just the fact that you wanted to make a skit and I wanted to make a trailer.
And it makes sense, because I'm not a big trailer person. Yeah. I'm not a fan of trailers.
I love editing to music. I just find it easier to do.
I would agree.
And the thing is, I think that like the idea of making it a skit wasn't a bad idea, and I think that there was definitely more than enough footage to do that. It's just for me, it was like, hey, we only have a minute, so let's just make a trailer.
We had more than enough footage, we didn't have more than enough time.
Yeah. So the main point of that is the fact that we have, despite we concocting this idea together, and despite it being like, oh yeah, this is the characters we're gonna have, this is the thing, we still had different visions as to how we wanted to make it.
Which I find super fascinating, because I think at the same time we both, in a sense, I really enjoyed your video, and here's my issue, was like, I started to edit this video, and I only got through really a third of the editing, and it had to be 1:15, like, with all the footage I want to use, and it was already 45 seconds. And I was like, oh, I have to cut out literally so much.
By the way, that place, I think I was telling you about it. That was a place of the Greek food or whatever.
Oh.
That place is so freaking good.
I think I've heard about it. I forgot the name.
It's really, it's like soul whatever, but it's just so good. Anyways, you were saying.
But, so I think it's super fascinating going into whatever we're doing, mostly white noise, how that's going to play out.
Yeah, I think, again, my favorite thing about people is just different ideas and different paradigms.
Because I do think we have a similar sense of humor, so it's super fascinating to see that humor expressed really in different ways.
Yeah. And I think, Alex, and you, I think that your sense of humor is very peculiar, and not peculiar in a bad way, just unique. Yeah. And I think that bringing your style of doing things in the way that you, and like your personal experience, which you were mentioning briefly, I think that your personal experience gives you this paradigm and this perspective, and like the things that you think of when it's like, what am I trying to say? Like, you think of ideas that I would never think because you had a different background. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For me, I like spent a lot of time just thinking up ideas, because there were weird times in my life where like I was more introverted, more extroverted. Right now, I'm sort of in that middle ground where I'm pretty in between. Yeah, I would say. And like I can be both when I need to be. Now when I'm acting like more extroverted, I realized that I needed like things that I wanted to talk about. So because I didn't really know what I was doing, I started to write down ideas that would pop in my head. Yeah. That was back in high school, and I continued to write down ideas for years, and I still do. Just it went to a different notepad, and eventually it went on my phone. And so, like, I just wrote down a ton of ideas, and so those ideas I will still go back and look at and say, hey, that's something I thought of years ago. It's still funny to me in a different way if I tweak it like this. Yeah. And so from there, that sort of built on my style of humor, because I like to try and have something that I always describe as inside jokes with everyone I know. Yeah. Yeah. Is when, like, I'll just, whenever someone says a number, I'll say, oh, that's almost 100. It's something that people all can get immediately, and they know that I'm going to be the person to say it. Yeah. And, like, I've learned that that's just something that I do when I socialize, but also what I find funny personally. Yeah. I think on a general basis, I think that's what we all try to do. We try to get jokes that are relatable. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really funny because we've been pretty serious this whole time talking about humor. Yeah. Yeah. No, my thing is just like you do, despite us laughing at very similar things, I think that we all have different backgrounds and different, we consume different content in a way. Yeah. And let's be real, like the content that we consume is the content that inspires us, you know what I mean? Absolutely. And I feel like a lot of the things that I grew up watching are the reason why I have the sense of humor that I have now. Yeah, absolutely. And, which is why I love the fact that, for example, you like certain creators, that I like different creators, and you like other different creators. Yeah. And that, and I do think that, again, like the ideas of what makes us laugh is, I think, very similar, but also the execution of what makes us laugh is what I think is so different, and that I like to work with, and that I just want to create content that is just different. Yeah, like everybody can put a different perspective into it. And I think the skit we're scheming up right now, Chris, I think could really fill both our ideas of what's funny. Yeah, no, I think for me, the skit that we're cooking up right now is just my favorite kind of humor, where it's not slapstick humor really. I feel like it's more banter.
It's more banter. It's not even that. It's just like I showed you my favorite SNL skit.
Yeah.
And how it's just so simple, and it's what makes it laugh. It's not the words, even though I love comedy in the sense of like dialogue. But what makes it laugh is the absurdity of the actions that are happening. You know what I mean? And I love the fact that it does never loses like does not lose its humor. You know what I mean?
I think we should really try to film that sometime this week and then get it out next week.
That'd be great. Yeah.
We should write it down tomorrow.
I was telling Alex, I know we're being vague, but hopefully.
Yeah.
But
hopefully it'll be made eventually.
But I want a very loose script. I don't want anything because I feel like the funniest thing about the thing we're basing off was the fact that like it was just me like being stupid.
Yeah,
and I'll get like Forrest to sleep the night before, so that should probably help.
I think that's exactly what it is to me, because don't get me wrong, I love wit. And for example, something like Monty Python, I absolutely love because they are absurdly witty and
like
puns and jokes, and like I absolutely love that.
The entire dialogue. Have you seen in the Holy Grail? I assume.
I've seen it. Yeah,
you know the entire dialogue with the guy who's like who's like a farmer and he's talking about the king.
Yeah.
I think that's a fantastic comedy because it's clever, it's witty, and you have to really understand it.
Yeah.
And it's like help, I'm being oppressed, and just it gets me every time.
I love it, but I find my favorite kind of humor is humor that is straight to the point and it's more physical than witty. Because for example, for me, I'm always afraid of, are people going to get this humor? Are people going to understand it? And there's also a different layer for me where it's like, will I even be able to pronounce this in a way that is funny? You know what I mean? Because, I do have an accent, and I feel like that accent can be beneficial sometimes, but it can also be detrimental when it's like, oh, I want to make a joke, but I kind of stumbled upon the words because I mispronounced them. You know what I mean? So for me, my favorite kind of humor is more physical, like, this is so absurd, but it makes sense in a way. Like, I think we all agree that we don't like, oh, that's so random kind of humor, because that's just doesn't really work.
Well, let me talk about some of my favorite creator real quick. Funhouse, I think I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Because, like, you're talking about physical, but the way they make jokes and banter is based off the virtual ridiculousness of the game in front of them, which I think is so witty, and I think it's usually just really clever moments.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I really enjoy, that sort of witty, back-to-back based off something. Like when Alex was playing video games that one time, we were just sitting there making fun of him playing video games and laughing our asses off. I think that's one of my favorite types of humor, in a sense.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think I'm not trying to like take.
No, I'm explaining myself.
Yeah, and the I told you guys about SourceFit, right? And my favorite moments about SourceFit, it was when someone would say a joke and then someone would kind of in the moment start acting it out, and then spontaneously people would join in and add to it and just build upon until the joke just gets so ridiculous. I absolutely love that. And I'm not saying that wit and spoken like in actual like dialogue based humor is bad. Not at all. I'm saying I absolutely love it. I just want to say that this is what I love, the fact that you like are more like in tune with wit and with dialogue, and I want to do more things when it comes to physical humor. And I love the fact that we're working on things together because I feel like that's going to bring a good balance to things.
What I would also like to throw in is the fact that regarding like us having a similar sense of humor but thinking about how to execute it differently.
Yeah.
You guys don't like The Office.
You're right.
But The Office is something that heavily influenced what I found funny and how I think about delivering comedy. And so to have that still be similar is something that has always been interesting to me, because I thought that I wouldn't be able to have a similar sense of humor to someone who didn't like the show.
Here's my thing, just real quick, specifically The Office, I love the wit and like the dialogue and behind it.
It just makes me cringe.
It's the execution, exactly. For me, it's the execution, because here's the thing, The Office specifically, and it's a thing where I can enjoy it when I'm with people, but I cannot enjoy it when I'm by myself.
Okay.
And I feel like with myself is more because I very easily get secondhand embarrassment of things.
That's the same thing. I slam my head into a pillow. I'm just like, I
cannot watch this. Exactly. And it's like when you're in the stage, not in the stage, when you're in an audience and you're watching someone on the stage make a fool of themselves, like I cannot watch that. It hurts me inside. But when I'm with people, it's like, okay, that's funny. You know what I mean? Like I can actually appreciate the humor.
And like, and on a side note, we're talking about not alienating people. We were talking about this, and we both just admitted to not liking The Office, one of the most popular shows.
No. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think The Office is
I don't think it's a bad show. I think it's not for me.
My personal taste is like it's not that kind of stuff. And again, I've watched episodes of The Office with other people. And
I'll tell you,
fun.
one of my favorite shows is Arrested Development.
We started watching a bit of Arrested
Yeah,
Development.
we watched
I
part
think-
of an episode.
We
I
watched,
liked
like,
what I saw.
I liked what I saw.
It
I wanna watch more
only
of
gets
but
better.
It was just like a few minutes.
Please, we should watch it because I think it's so clever. I think
mess up.
You messed.
That's
the
fine.
time.
Give us some more time.
Seminole Colony. That's an interesting.
yeah, we're in an interesting location.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
it's
fun,
not
fun,
sketchy.
fun fact
There's
about-
bars on the windows.
I don't know how true this might be, but my professor from state and local government, which he himself, I know how I made the joke about, oh, that class is basically Florida history class. Last class, he said himself, oh, this class is basically going to be Florida history. And I'm like, this is not what I signed up for. But whatever. Anyways, he was talking about how the Seminoles are descendants of the Mayans from...
Mayans.
I
Yeah,
don't
you
know.
were right.
I don't know how to pronounce it in English, but I don't know. And his logic was that the Seminoles were short, and the Mayans were also short, and I was like, that does not.
Chris, does that mean we're related because we're both short?
I think it might be true.
Italians and Mayan.
And
What,
Mayans, Mexicans.
what are you, Chris? I'm sorry. What exactly are you?
Well, the official ethnicity that I am is mestizo, is what we're called.
Which, speaking of your ethnicity, we're pulling up to Taco Bell now. I need to figure out what you guys want to order.
I absolutely hate you, Alex.
I'm sorry, but we literally are in their drive-thru.
Okay,
right?
let's see what we want.
I don't. I'm not getting anything.
I would like
getting
a
something.
$5 bucks. Do they have those?
Yeah, they do. Zane got one last.
It's
There's a stacker
the
box.
most straightforward thing I can think of.
If someone gets a Baja Blast, I'll have a sip. Ooh, can you give me a water cup though? No, but Chris, I can't. I think that's why our humor works well.
How may I help you?
No.
How may he help you?
I'm not quite sure what we want yet.
Just let me know you're ready, please.
Thank you.
I just don't have the $5 bucks.
Yeah, it's a
Have
stacker
$5
box.
cravings deal.
No, it's the stacker box. It's right there.
Wait, cheesy gordita crunch, beefy filer. That is can I ask him if I can change the beefy? Wait, no. What is it? Wait, yeah. Actually, you know what you want.
Yes.
Let me see what I want. I actually don't know what I want.
Are you ready?
No, I'm not ready. Just give me a minute.
Well, then I'm not gonna wait. I'm gonna wait until you're ready.
Oh, thank you, Dad.
No problem, son.
On a side note, I'm gonna quickly rant. Anyone who posts a story of like a single event more than like 2 stories.
You mean people who like go to an event and post like the whole thing on their Snap story?
Yeah, that's what someone just did with
beefy five. Just
the
give me
lip
up the
sync.
5 cravings deal.
Are you ready to order?
Yes. Could I get one of the $5 cravings
I absolutely
deal?
hate that, by the way.
You want craving still and what's your drink?
Just Coke.
Just a Pepsi, no ice.
Wait, no, can I just get a Mountain Dew?
Actually, could you get Mountain Dew instead?
Yeah, anything else?
Thank you. And then a meal deal C.
Alright, give me one moment.
All right.
Meal deal C? What is that?
Just give me a water cup.
With the drink.
With a Baja Blast, no ice. You said a cup of water.
Check out first.
And then a cup of water,
That's it.
and that'll be it.
Drive around.
Thank you.
Why are you so judgmental?
I'm just saying.
I don't get American culture, man.
It's fine. I know that it's different.
Taco Bell is so different from Taco Bell.
You're literally at home right now.
Taco Bell is so different from Taco Campana, okay?
Taco what now?
Campana means bell in Spanish.
Really? That's what it's called?
Yeah. You know what we should actually get sometime, Liam? Pollo Tropical.
It's
Pollo
alright.
Tropical is so
It's
good.
so
It's
good.
alright.
So
Dude,
good.
I'm Hispanic and I can tell you
We
it's
used
so
to
good.
have it like before games and stuff at soccer, and I thought it was alright.
I think it's because you're just like salty, man.
No, I actually am not a big
You
fan
can
of
also
salt.
just say we're not sponsored by Taco Bell.
We're
or
not
Pollo
sponsored.
Tropical.
I wish we were sponsored by any of those
Can we get?
places.
Yeah,
I mean, if we
absolutely.
get a sponsorship, blah blah blah.
Pollo
blah, I say
Tropical.
okay.
I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
What if like freaking what is it? Like Charming Toilet Paper starts sponsoring us.
I'll take that. I mean, it's one ply in
Hey,
the dorm and it's ridiculous.
I'll
and
take
I'll
it.
take. I'll take-
I think the ply actually at the dorms is actually pretty sweet.
No, it's not. It's
It's
one
pretty
ply.
soft.
No,
No,
It's
it's like
trash.
triple ply. What are you talking about?
no, it's not.
Depends
it
on
is.
who puts it in because they actually have different ones, and one of them is like 1 ply, one of them's 3.
Okay, the Mexican lady that not Cuban. The Cuban lady that shows up. Yeah, Mountain Dew. The Cuban lady that goes to our room, she gives us triple ply.
Just do you have the Diablo still?
I love spicy food, by the way.
I do too.
Spicy food's great. Oh, the cup of water as well.
Did you get anything?
Yeah, we got what's in the bag.
Oh, what?
Everything's in the box.
Talk about.
Wait, what did you get? Did I
You
get
wanna
like
go
a
see?
lot more food than you did?
No, you got a box.
I'm so no, it's just so
Chris, you're
shitty.
fine. Shut up.
No, Alex, I'm not fine. I hate you so much. You can
Thank
have
you
my
so
you
much.
can have half of my food. I don't want.
Did I get a straw?
You
didn't
can
get
have
one.
some of my food. I don't want to just be
I
an
didn't get
asshole.
a straw.
I'm so sorry. That
No,
ordered way too much,
Chris, no,
Alex. I
okay.
Oh
hate
my
you.
gosh.
Chris, it's fine. I told you that I was going to be buying you
Yeah,
food.
and
It's fine.
it's just this is the thing I always get because it seems pretty cheap. I don't
Oh
know.
my gosh, Chris! If someone buys you food, just accept the damn food. Let's not
It's
have
just,
you.
I have an
Don't
issue
be a
with
simple-
people.
No. Let's
No.
talk about this.
Okay,
It's here
I
now.
have,
We may as well talk about it.
I have an issue with people buying stuff for me or just spending
shit.
money on me, because I don't know. I've never been a big person that likes people spending money on me in the first place, just because I think that, especially because I've never had friends who are super.
You still don't.
Sam, that could be the title of my
I never had
autobiography.
friends. Period.
That's my autobiography right there. No, but I never have friends who are like rich or anything like that. So all my friends are people who either their parents work really
You
hard for
still
their
don't
money.
have friends that are rich.
Their parents.
Sure.
I mean, no. I mean, now that we go to West Palm, I have friends who are more wealthy. But even then, I wouldn't like doing that. You know, it's just because I feel like either their parents or they worked hard for their money, and it's like, wow, you're spending it on me, and like I don't think it. It just feels weird, and
Yeah.
I feel guilty. It's a sense of guilt where it's like I always feel guilty because my girlfriend likes buying shit for me, and it's like I don't want her spending money on me. I want to spend money on her because I mean that's the one thing where I'll be more traditional on, but it's like. I don't like it when my friends spend money on me. It just feels weird. You know what I mean? It feels like
I'm
I don't.
definitely more one to spend money on my friends than have them spend money on me.
Yeah.
I prefer it that way. It's just like I really feel like giving generously, and I think it extends from me with a sense of independence because like I'm struggling for that.
Yeah.
But on a side note, you mentioned something about how like your friends and it's their parents' money.
Yeah, I feel
So,
like it's always
well,
either their money or their parents'
So
money.
I had one friend she's well off. Her family's well off.
Yeah.
And like me and my other friend, it was three of us hanging out. We were talking about who's driving, and we're like, oh, you should drive. Your parents pay for your gas.
Yeah.
And she goes, it's still my parents' money.
Yeah,
and I
exactly.
always drive. And like for me, that kind of hit me, and I'm like, okay. And it made me realize because she doesn't act spoiled, but I'm like, she's aware of the value of money.
Yeah.
So you said that made me think about like how like I love people who understand the value of money even when it's not their own money.
Yeah. And the other thing is, again, from going, I guess I don't want to sound like, oh, I'm Hispanic, I'm special. It's just the fact that back home, the value of money is different. So an imperial, which is our currency, you need 23 of those to make $1. But the buying power of the 22 lempiras is more in Honduras than the buying power of $1 here. So for me, it's just like every time someone's like, "Oh, I'm spending this $5 on you," for me, it's like, "Oh, you're spending 180 or not 100, but like 120 lempiras on me," and that just seems like a lot. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I always convert that in my head, and it's just like, "Wow, you're spending a ton of money on me."
Yes.
So for like me personally, I'll usually explain to people if they say that they feel bad that like I'm buying them something, is that I used to be really greedy, like
Really?
and any money
and
that
then three spirits visit you at night.
then three spirits visited me at
It
night.
was Donald Trump.
It was too soon.
Go ahead.
But no, it was
Oh,
like
boy.
I used to be like way more like, because I mean I didn't have much money. I was a kid, and so like whenever I did get money, I would want to hold on to that and latch onto it, and I would want to be able to spend other people's money whenever possible. And so like I was also very possessive of my stuff, and that made me realize eventually that I was really being greedy and selfish.
Interesting.
And I hated that. That was like something that I was able to clearly see in myself.
Yeah.
And so I decided that from that point on, I wanted to try and be able to be there for people. Like I already try to be there for people on like emotional levels and things like that.
Yeah.
But I want to be there for people also if I can provide for them or use what I have to help them out.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's a much healthier way to look at things as opposed to what it
Yeah.
used to be.
No, I always told Liz that I wish I was rich so I could just like be the stereotypical boyfriend that spoils his girlfriend. And I wish I had money so I could spend it on people around me and just like not to like compensate for lack of companionship or lack of like actual emotional presence or anything like that, but just because I like to be someone who can provide for people. You know what I mean? I love doing that, but it's just that's why for me it becomes like in relationships I'm never been someone who. It's not I don't like receiving. It's just that I will never like seek it out. You know what I mean?
No,
I will
absolutely
seek out giving more than I will seek out receiving. Not that I'm a special person or like, oh, I'm such a great person. Like, not at all. That's not what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you how I am really, and like I don't like. That's why where the guilt of like receiving comes from.
Well,
and I think that being guilty when someone's giving you, I think that's unhealthy. I acknowledge that. It's just
I don't think it's unhealthy. I don't think it's unhealthy.
I think to the extent that I have it, it is unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's wrong. I think I should, especially with Liz, she would like tell me like, don't be stupid. Or with you right now, and like earlier, you were like, no, it's fine or whatever. But I do think it's unhealthy, and I want to it's one of those things where I don't want to fix really. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like
I think for me, I just got a well-paying job. For me, like I was like, I never wanted to get in a relationship in high school because I'm like, I'm not making money, and for me, it seems completely crazy to like go out with this girl and not be able to provide for her.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's like one of those things because just everything in my life has taught me that like, hey, like I want to be the provider and I want to be that person. I want to be able to give without having to worry.
Yeah.
And so like getting in, like I've come to the point where I don't want a relationship right now. But like when I start getting a nice paying job, I was like, okay, I can see this more in the cards because I'm like, I don't want to be in a position where I can't provide.
Yeah.
And it's just such a weird thing in my mind where it's like until that's in order, I feel like it's not something worth pursuing because it's like, I don't know, I just want to be able to give generously to the person I love in a sense.
You sound like a PBA poster. Give generously.
I know.
You're so right. Oh my gosh.
Are you gonna be on the billboard next time, Lee?
I hope so.
Not to shoot you
My
down,
brother
it
was
just
okay,
so
so
funny to
my
me.
brother went to our university before me, and he was very popular. He was like on very well known actually among administration and students.
Was he really?
Yeah, very well known.
Wait,
when I toured the
did
school,
he go here 4 years or
4 years.
Did he do post grad or like
No, he did not do
post-grad,
postgrad, but he was on steering committee and SGA.
Interesting. Oh, I was gonna apply for steering committee as well.
Yeah.
I wanted to be in that.
But so when I toured the school, President Fleming, the president of our school, goes, Divine, oh, you must be Connor's brother.
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
he's like, take a selfie and send it to Connor. So I have a selfie with President Fleming. It's the most awkward
President
selfie.
Bill.
It's the most awkward selfie ever. And if I'm editing this, I'll
Liam, I
put that
think
in.
that there's no such thing as the most awkward selfie ever.
I can't take pictures of myself. I just can't. It's just like
go high angle.
I'm really bad at it too.
it's something I've given up on trying, and I just do the half face and a subtle smirk, and that's all I go for.
I mean, I do that on my like snaps that I don't care about. But
That's-
when
because-
when I actually want to take a selfie, I know how to do it. Go ahead, Alex.
Just really quickly, what are we looking at time wise?
we're
right now.
we're at 35.
That's a good amount.
We're
No,
at 35 minutes.
I want to get like 10, 15 more.
So I'm going to just go for a little bit of a leisure drive for a
Sure.
bit, just
you
to
want to
give
go
us
to
some more
the
time.
beach and back?
Only because I'm already in the turn lane, maybe.
But
Maybe.
back to the entire thing of like money and whatnot. For me, money just sort of became something I realized wasn't a big deal. Because my family was very wealthy at one point, and we lost it all. And I'm like, okay, one moment it can all be gone. And so for me, it's just this realization that hey, like, enjoy what you have and don't be afraid to give generously.
Yeah.
Because either you're gonna be fine or you're not gonna be fine. And I don't think life's gonna care if you give or not.
Yeah. Who is that?
I don't know. We're currently trying.
Is that No, that's not who I think it is. Never mind. Anyways,
But on a side note, I quickly want to talk about the
you want to talk about your future goals and things like that? Liam?
yeah. So New Year's resolutions, because it's been about 2 weeks since.
It has been 2
Do
weeks, and I.
Chris, you do new resolutions. Alex, do you do resolutions?
I absolutely do.
Okay. Me personally, I'm going for goals to achieve, not resolutions.
I mean, for me, it's just a different name to call it.
That's just semantics for me too.
Yeah.
I see them as different because I feel like resolutions is something where
Wait,
it's
is
like.
that- Oh my God, you're so hot!
Chris saw 3 shirtless dudes
That's
running.
Juan, and I forget the redhead guy's name. He's super cool though. They're so cool guys. I absolutely love them. No, my New Year's goals or resolutions or whatever. Oh, there they are. Hey, dude.
don't know what is happening
I
right now.
absolutely love them so much.
I wish we had cameras right now.
Right? It would be perfect.
We gotta set that. Okay.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
So,
Anyways,
yeah.
New Year's resolutions. You want me to start telling you what my New Year's resolutions
Yeah.
are?
Let's start with those.
Okay, so so far I want to be honest, I have not worked, over the last 2 weeks, I have not worked on any of my resolutions at all.
Starting off the year right.
I am actually. Okay, no, I have excuses for that. None of which are valid.
I was gonna say, good year to start off.
Usually-
Start your resolutions and have excuses.
Usually, if you have
for
to start out an explanation with "I have good excuses," usually that means you
They're
don't.
not, they're not good excuses. They're not valid.
I won't think excuses. I've been stupid and lazy. Simple as that. No, but I do. By the end of February, I want to lose 15 pounds of just fat because I am overweight. I genuinely am. There's no question about that. And I'll just be honest about it. My goal right now is to go to 155 pounds. I'm currently 180. That's.
Do you want to work out tomorrow tonight?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. No, I thought we were going to work out tomorrow.
Yeah. How do I want this relationship to develop? How do I want this project to go? What progress do I want to make? What goal do I want to work towards?
That's the thing, Liam. You are reading Dale Carnegie's. What is it? How to
Win friends and
Win
influence.
friends and influence people. I took the Dale Carnegie Youth training, and they teach you is a very simple thing. It's like you have long-term goals, medium-term goals, and short-term goals. And it's one of those things where it's like you need to, on your short-term goals, like every single goal that you have, for me, resolutions and goals are the same thing. You know what I mean? Every goal that you have, you need to establish when do you want to achieve it and what progress you're going to do every specific amount of time.
And
right?
I guess I completely agree. I think my entire thing is I just need to change that mentality because like I need to break it down into sections in my head.
Yeah, that's the key. You need to actually because just having the goal and like saying, okay, I'll get it done, and then not actually doing or trying to do a lot one day and then the next day not doing anything, it's not going to get you anywhere.
So, and I would say I have things I want to accomplish in 2018.
Yeah.
I want to make like at least 10 videos.
Yeah.
I would love to do something over 10 minutes because I haven't done anything like that.
Short film.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to do like 10-minute video. I think what else was I saying? I'd love to write 2 scripts, 2 like 30-page scripts.
Yeah.
I think those are just things like I see as like specific accomplishments I want to make.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I think my issue though is I wish I was more introverted where I got energy by being by myself and could do work on my own.
Yeah.
But I just need to be with other people.
You guys cannot tell, but Alex just dabbed.
I did no such thing. Can't prove it.
Alex, I am.
Pixar didn't
That
happen.
guy drives for Lyft.
Whoa.
He thinks he's cool, but he would be cooler if he drove for Uber.
I disagree.
On a side note, I hate the smell of Taco Bell.
Honestly,
I just wanted to say that, like, something that I really like about Mostly White Noise is sort of how different the 4 of us are overall.
Yeah.
And so, because I mean,
Zane's not here.
Zane's not here, unfortunately.
He's
zany boy.
He's doing his own thing tonight.
yeah, he's busy.
But I mean, busy as far as like technically. And so like
Yeah.
And so I mean,
I forgot what he was
yeah.
doing. I was
No,
like, is he
we're
chilling?
not salty about it or anything.
I was
No,
like,
Zane.
wait, is he chilling?
Zane, if you're hearing this,
Zane, I honestly for a
Liam's
second.
salty. I'm not.
For a second, I was like, wait, was he chilling with Brooke or something? Like, oh no, he's playing video games like a loser.
Right. But like,
Zane, by the way, I'm not actually bitter.
anyways, like, but I think that it's so interesting that like we have similar senses of humor. We all want to make similar stuff, but we all come from such different places, like from different like standings. Like we have different interests beyond like what we want to make with Mostly White Noise.
Yeah.
And so to see all of that sort of come together is really cool. And I think that like that's going to be really awesome to see it sort of develop and what will happen with all of it by the end.
Yeah, that was my whole thing earlier, that I love the fact that despite us having a similar sense of humor, the way we execute things and the things that we're interested in are like very different. And that's my whole thing. I love working in different cultural settings. Not cultural settings. I love working with people from different cultures and different ideologies and different backgrounds and things.
Chris, one of the things
variety is the spice of life.
One of the things that you said earlier was how you love when people run with jokes.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite things too, and I think that's why we ended up becoming friends, because you would say something stupid, I would build on it, then it would just go back and forth,
Yeah.
and then it would just become absolutely ridiculous, and everyone at the CAF would just be like, what are you guys saying?
This reminds me of one of my other New Year's resolutions. It's not really a New Year, it's more like this week resolution that I've realized is that I want to go back to a humor that isn't so depending on swear words and sex jokes. Because I feel like, specifically gay sex jokes, because I feel like a lot of my humor has been revolving around, oh, F this and F that, ooh, butt jokes about gay sex, and it's like, it's just become stupid. No, it really, I feel like, don't get me wrong, I find those things funny. I just think that I want to go back to a place where I think my humor was not as trash.
I think my banter's gone down, but my monologue of ranting has improved, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, when I get stupid passionate about something, I think that, like, it's just ridiculous.
I mean, you get stupid pretty often.
Yeah, I do.
You know, an interesting thing is that both of you guys seem like you sort of want to fix, like, how you sort of joke around with people.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's more so like, oh, I know what people, like, what sorts of jokes I say that people like, and so it's more so like I just want to continue doing those.
Yeah.
I like, there's nothing that I really wanted to like say, oh, I should stop making jokes like that.
Yeah, but I feel like it's because I acknowledge that a lot of my jokes are just stupid. You know,
Yeah.
and they're stupid and not like, oh, that's so funny. It's just stupid and they're like,
That's
okay, that's just that's just a swear. Like, I feel like I'm letting myself down. You know,
Okay.
I can do better.
Okay,
Yeah.
on that depressing note...
That's not depressing. That's hopeful. You
no, it's
No, I'm
hope for
kidding,
the
I'm
future.
kidding.
Hope
I'm
for the
kidding.
future.
Liam, you have a very negative outlook on life.
You know that's the exact
I
opposite.
know
Yeah.
that's exact opposite.
We should talk about that at some
We'll
point.
talk about the next one, about how stupid optimistic I am about the world and
Yeah.
existence. Wow,
Yeah.
we for people talking about comedy a lot, I didn't think we were very funny.
Yeah, no, but I think we had some very interesting
think-
conversations.
I think at the end of
overall.
the day, we're all comedic people, but we love to talk about the theory and ideas behind it.
I think we're just idiots and we like jokes.
That's accurate too.
And
Is
the
that
thing
the
with
new
that,
podcast name, Idiots and Jokes?
On that note, thank you so much for listening to this. I am Chris from Honduras.
Do we really need to say our names? I'm Liam Devine.
And I am Alex Whitehead.